This is Cleon Wall. We've got some great stories for this episode of Big Stories, but we do want to warn you that one of the tales we're telling today discusses an attempted suicide. If you are in crisis, please call, text, or chat the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988.
We are blessed to be in a state that cares about education and also is willing to invest in it.
And with that investment, University of Utah President Taylor Randall believes his responsibility is threefold.
To inspire individuals, to help them innovate, and help them learn how to serve their communities.
Welcome to BYU Radio's Big Stories, telling the amazing and inspiring tales from the Big 12 and beyond. I'm your host, Cleon Wall. The University of Utah has many great ambassadors and programs that support President Randall's three pillars. In this episode, we'll focus on two people who are shining examples of inspiration and service.
My first name is Abe. My last name is Bakhsheshy.
Well, that's not his given name.
Is Ghulam Abbas Bakhsheshy Darafshan Burujali Dodangai Kholabadi. When I registered as a graduate student at the age of really 16 and a half, they didn't have the accommodation. And they told me, what is your name? And I told them, this is my name. And they had those small computer cards that you had to fill out the letters of your name. So they gave me a name, Abe.
Dr. Abe is originally from Iran and started studying at the University of Utah in the 1970s.
My hope was that as soon as I finish my doctoral degree, I can go back to the country that I was born and serve the people, because to this day, they are very dear to me. But as I was attending graduate school, one day I got this telegram that said that your mom and your father are dead, deceased, and you're on your own.
Political unrest in his home country led to his parents' deaths.
I missed my parents tremendously. I was very depressed. I decided that this is not a life for me. I can't continue going through life as it is. I bought a rope, I bought a hook. I wanted to commit suicide. But just a few seconds before I ended up kicking the chair below my feet, I noticed this wonderful book that was given by my father to me. I picked up the book. The book was the beautiful writing of Eccles, the great philosopher who lived over 2,500 years ago. There was a statement on that particular page, a short paragraph that said the meaning of life is to make a difference in lives of others. When you face quandaries, difficulties, and problems in life, you have to be stronger. You have to stand up for the gift that has been embedded to you, others. I sat down at that age, and I wrote a personal statement of ethics for myself. Now that I've got a second chance at life, how am I going to make a difference?
Dr. Abe's passion was to become an educator.
But because I was shy, bashful, and extremely timid, the people of this state helped me, coached me, mentored me. Nobody gave me any handout, but through the love, compassion, and empathy, I was able to finish my doctoral degree.
Eventually, he became a professor at the U.
I am the professor and chair of the Daniels Fund Ethics Initiative here at the University of Utah, and professor and lecturer of organizational behavior.
Dr. Abe educates future business leaders to have a moral compass while making money.
You're supposed to follow the laws, but last but not least, you should do what is just, fair, and right. You should be morally and ethically oriented. The difference between the two is that if you don't follow the law, they put you in prison. But following ethical and moral standards are expected rather than required. This is what we teach. One of the greatest things in my research and academic career teaching I've learned is the importance of what we call emotional intelligence. How can I impact people for the better, not to serve me, but to serve mankind. And I believe since compassion and empathy, transparency, these issues have helped me from deciding to end my life, to pursue my passion as a teacher, as a faculty member, the best I can do is to try to share that information, the importance of empathy, kindness, moral standards, ethical principles to the current and future leaders of this country. And I will continue to contribute to this institution to the very last day that I breathe.
So my name is Adrian Portillo. I'm a medical student at the University of Utah. The fact that I'm even saying I'm a medical student is beyond me. Sometimes I have to almost remind myself that I worked so hard to get here. My parents both immigrated from Mexico and weren't able to graduate high school, and so they kind of just obtained jobs that they were able to get. And they were never really able to expose us to the different fields within higher education. Growing up, I was never a big reader. My parents never forced me to read. I struggled with reading. I always got lower scores on the reading assessments. I was always just an athlete. I liked sports. I did okay in school, but I wouldn't say I was the top student in my class by any means, but I always worked hard in what I loved to do.
After his high school graduation, Adrian thought he might go into carpentry, but then he started taking classes at Salt Lake Community College.
When I was 18 years old, just during my first semester of college, I was actually diagnosed with bone cancer.
Doctors discovered the cancer after Adrian's arm gave out while lifting weights. X-rays showed the cancerous mass was pushing up against one of the main nerves in his arm.
I was referred up to Huntsman Cancer Institute here at the University of Utah, and I met with a lot of amazing doctors, nurses, therapists, and it just kind of really showed how much they cared about the people they treated. And that kind of started me on this path to want to become a physician and go to medical school. Something I definitely always want to preach and always want to share with others is that we are capable of doing whatever we set our mind to. And I know that's kind of been said all the time, but something that really resonates with me and something I've been able to learn over the years is we truly don't know what we're capable of until we push ourselves to that limit.
And Adrian has pushed himself to that limit many times, especially when it comes to understanding what he's studying.
As a med student, I sometimes feel like I'm not there yet. And I feel that a lot of my classmates have done a lot of preparing since they were very young, and I just feel like I'm not there, and I've constantly struggled with that kind of issue, but continuously reminding myself that I'm here for a reason.
Adrian has a few reasons why he wants to become a doctor.
To give back to the community and use my knowledge to care for people, to hopefully support people throughout their journeys and throughout their different difficulties and hardships. And I know illness is hard, and I think that's something that I never realized until I had cancer. And it's something that I continuously realize and learn each and every day.
He also wants to inspire the next generation.
Coming from a background where maybe you weren't kind of pushed to pursue higher education, you weren't pushed to do things like become a doctor, go to all these higher spots. I mean, I never saw a doctor who looked like me growing up, and that was something that never crossed my mind once until I had my experience. And even then, I constantly said, well, is this for me? Am I even going to be able to do this? And I know there's a kid out there who has that same thought, who's maybe telling themselves that they don't know if they're capable of doing this, or maybe that they feel like they're not able to do this because nobody else from their background or their culture has done it. And I'm here to say it's definitely possible. It's a hard road and it's a long journey, but I think at the end of it, it's going to all be worth it.
Adrian's final reason? He wants to do it for his dad, Fidel.
Not only did I get cancer, but I also had to watch my dad get esophageal cancer. And I think seeing that there were very limited options left for us to make in his care really inspired me a lot more, and kind of showed me that there is more to do in medicine, and there's always more to contribute in the field of medicine. And it's something I'm very passionate about doing, is hopefully finding answers to these questions so that no other family has to go through what we went through. And after I lost my dad, I always use that to kind of remind myself that one day I will make a difference. One day somebody will be able to fill in these gaps, and another family and another patient in the future will not experience the things my family or my dad had experienced. And so that's something that I always look forward to in the future. It's something that I constantly remind myself. And so that's something that I hope to continue to share to others.
When you get at the ground level, you begin to see that people are at this institution for the good that they can do.
Here again is University of Utah President Taylor Randall.
I actually hope what happens is there are thousands of people that feel empowered to make the world a better place, and they don't realize that Taylor Randall was even here.
Utah's Three Pillars was produced and written by Whitney Sheffield and Cleon Wall. Music and post-production by Finn Morrison. Make sure you watch BYUtv's Big Stories by logging on to BYUSN.com. Big Stories is a production of BYU Radio. Hey everyone, Cleon Wall here again. I'm inviting you to check out another BYU Radio podcast. It's called Deep Blue. It's where you get the true stories of BYU athletes and coaches from their own mouths. It's hosted by my colleague, Jason Shepard. Last season, they had great interviews on Deep Blue, including Cougar quarterback Gary Bohannon. He teared up quite a bit talking about his son and what it means for his boy to watch his dad play. Also, BYU swimmer Jordan Tiffany, who quit swimming due to mental health struggles. He talked about how he was able to get back in the pool again. More great conversations for season number 3. BYU running back Hinckley Rapati will talk about his tear-filled journey to BYU. Former BYU tight end Chad Lewis, he's going to reflect back on that special 1996 BYU football season. And BYU basketball players Richie Saunders and Fuseni Traore discuss their unique relationship. It started way before they got to BYU. Please subscribe and listen to Deep Blue with Jason Shepard wherever you get podcasts, or check it out on the BYU Radio app.